Hey everybody, I'm going to do just a short little video about tasting parties. I'm going to shout out to Megan Sanderson. Megan has her first tasting party coming up in April. She's been a consultant for a year. In fact, she'll celebrate her first year anniversary on April 26th. But if you remember, last March is when the pandemic started. And so we do have a number of people on our Tastefully Simple All-Star team who've never had a tasting party because they started after the COVID pandemic started. And so I thought, well, I'll do a training video so that everybody has access to it. So Megan and some of the other consultants that started, after March of last year, they're Facebook party pros. But the tasting party, they've never had the opportunity to have. So I want to talk a little about tasting parties. If it's been a long time since you've had one because of the pandemic, this is a good time to maybe get a refresher. That was interesting. So I graduated from South Dakota State University with my bachelor's and master's degrees, and I currently work for them. So I am very much into promoting South Dakota State University. And I got this, oh gosh, can you see it? It's probably too bright. Oh, I got this card yesterday in the mail from South Dakota State University that says dream big. I'm like, oh my gosh, how'd they know I was a Tastefully Simple consultant and I dream big, but it wasn't about that, but I just really like the card. So I'm going to keep that. And I wanted to show it to you too, because I'm going to talk to you about dream big as well. And so when we're talking about tasting parties or Facebook parties, that is, part of the dream for us, but it's also part of the dream for our hosts and our clients is helping them have some good, easy, healthy meals and some good, easy, entertaining ideas. So if you never had a tasting party before, something you should know. Tastefully Simple sells items that they call party food kits, and party food kits come in a box like this. And I've got one out because I have a tasting party. I actually have two scheduled in April. One is this coming Friday, so I already have the party kit out, and the other one is later this month. So I'm going to get the party kit to her tomorrow. So you get a party kit. You can get a party kit 1 or party kit 2. And so this one, let me see, happens to be party food kit 1. So when you get your party food kit and you open it up, it's got all sorts of samples in it. And it's got some air bubble bags too. I usually take those out and then I keep a bubble wrap and lay it in there. And then what also comes in that party food kit is a little piece of paper that looks like this, and you can't really see it because the way light's glaring. But what it does is it tells them all the samples that are in the party food kit and the groceries needed to prepare the items in the party food kit. So the deal is the host prepares the samples for the party. So what I like to do is get the party food kit to the host about 2 weeks for the party. And I instruct them that they make everything a day or two before the party. Tastefully Simple products are easy to make. They can make some a couple nights ahead. They can make some the night before if they want to. In fact, I always recommend that they make them at least the night before because our dips, the flavor goes into a lot longer if they've had a chance to set. So we don't want them to be making these things when we walk in the door. We want them to be done. And I tell them that this is a party. And this is the food we're serving at the party. So you want to have it prepared and ready to go at the party, okay? So when you walk in, the cake is sliced, the beer bread's cubed. I walk them through all of that. So also on the other side, so on here in Party Food Kit 1, they make the almond pound cake, the bountiful beer bread, the Mai Tai cheese ball, the smoked cheddar and jalapeno cheese ball, the spinach and herb seasoning. There is a recipe to use the cha-cha chili lime seasoning, the mango grill sauce, and the onion seasoning. And I always tell my hosts those recipes are optional. If they don't want to make the mango chicken stir fry in Party Food Kit 1 or the chili lime chicken, they don't have to. Just go ahead and follow the instructions on the little sample packet to make them to make the onion into a dip and the cha-cha chili lime seasoning as well. So, but you know what, even when I tell them it's optional, almost all of my hosts make both of the recipes that are on there. I think just giving them that chance to make their own decision about what they want to serve is helpful. The great thing about a Tastefully Simple party, though, is we know that when people entertain, one of the barriers, or two barriers, one, I have to clean my house, and the other one is, what am I going to feed them? And so with the Tastefully Simple party, there is no, what am I going to feed them? Because we give them a party food kit, we give them the instructions, we give them the grocery list. And I'll tell you, the grocery list is simple stuff on it, like mayonnaise, olive oil, butter, cream cheese, sour cream. It's not a bunch of weird stuff they're not going to be able to find. In fact, most of it they may already have in their house. It will also ask them to pick up like cucumber slices or baby carrots or things like that too, so that there's something to use for sampling. So we've used the beer bread for sampling. The host will cut the beer bread into cubes. You know what? I'm jumping ahead of myself, so I'm going to back up to this party food kit now. So I'm telling you it's in the party food kit, what I tell the host. So also in the party food kit, you do get a little flyer that looks like this, and you can write the party date and time on here. So you've got that. Inside is a place for the host to write the guest list. I wish you could see this better. I guess maybe like there. Let's ask them, you know, who do you know that loves to cook? Who do you know that hates to cook? Who wants to save or make extra money? Who wants healthy recipe choices? Just to get them brainstorming and get them writing down names of people that they're going to invite. And then on the back, there's tips for a successful party. I go through these tips with my host. I don't just say, read the tips. I go through the tips. It's going to be when I drop off the party food kit or when I follow up with a phone call. So this is the deal, you guys. We are the consultant. It's our job to help our host have a successful party. Our host, at the time they're having a party, really is our business partner. You're in business together during that time. And your host doesn't necessarily know what a good party is. So it's up to me as a consultant and her business partner to help her learn what she needs to do to make a good party. And so, I mean, a host doesn't know what a good party is. Is 5 people and 250 in sales a good party? She doesn't know. And what do we think a good party is? So it's up to me to share with my host what a good party is. So I go through these tips. One of the tips says to make a wish list. I tell my host, dream big. If you could get everything you wanted, I want you to make a list and let's take a look at it and see what you've got. What I do then is I ask them to send me a picture of their wish list, and I'll total it up for how much it's cost for those items, and then share how much they can get free with each level of party. And so that makes them work a little harder when they find out, oh my gosh, I really could get almost everything on my wish list. I also talk about maybe getting on Facebook to help them reach family and friends that are from a distance. I don't rely on, I tell them not to rely on Facebooks for invitations, but to use social media to reach people that live too far away to come to the tasting party. We don't want to leave them out. Just like a Facebook party, we invite people from all over the country. Same with the tasting party. And I always tell them, if you want, we can Zoom people in on a tasting party. And I actually have had hosts take me up on that, where I had a host not that long ago that lives near me in Rapid City, South Dakota. And she Zoomed in some people from the eastern part of South Dakota and from Western Wyoming. So that was really cool. They didn't get to taste, obviously, but they took part in the conversation. So you can do that too. Another tip it says on here is to invite at least 50 people, because that usually results in 10 party guests and 5 outside orders. So that's on the average. Sometimes our hosts think everybody they invite is going to show up. They're afraid to invite 50 people because they don't have room for 50 people. But guess what? People have busy schedules. So invite 50 people, maybe 25% of them come. Maybe 20% of them are able to come. So if you want to have a good party, you encourage your host to over invite. I'll also talk about RSVPs, what to do before the party, prepping your party food, party setup, enjoying your rewards, and then place for a wish list. So those are tips I go through with my host, okay? That's in the party food kit. Now, before I give my host a party food kit, what I do is I also toss, about 4 catalogs in there. I always toss in 5 order forms, and I challenge my host to get 5 orders before the party, 5 paid for orders before the party. That's why I give them 5 order forms. If they do that, I'll tell them I will give them a dessert of their choice as an extra gift from me. And I've got hosts that really work to do that. So there's 5 outside orders right there. And look, and I tell them those outside orders can be online or can be here. But the deal is they have to be paid for when I walk in the door for the party. And so if that host has 5 of these and all the payments there when I walk in the door, or she's got 3 of these and there's 2 online orders already, that works. So I put the 5 order forms, 3 or 4 catalogs. I always put hungry for something more in there because I want to talk to the host about being a Tastefully Simple consultant. Now, a lot of times I'll talk to them when I drop off the party food kit and just let them know that if they're interested in being a Tastefully Simple consultant, this party that we're doing can be their first party. They can go ahead and sign up. In April, this month, a host can use their host rewards to sign up to be a Tastefully Simple consultant. So I'll share about that as well. So anyway, I asked them to read this so they can ask me questions. So what else do I put in there? Invitations. These are paper invitations. I encourage my hosts to have some in their purse. I encourage my hosts to mail some out. These are cool. They're preview invites. And a lot of people use them for grocery lists. You'd be surprised. I always tell my hosts, when you mail these out, you'd be surprised how many people come. And they bring this already marked with things that they're low of or out of in their kitchen. So it really does help. But of course, a lot of my hosts also text, also private message. But I tell them, do not rely on Facebook alone to invite. You need to send private individual messages. You need to make personal phone calls. You need to send individual texts letting people know that you want them to come. Okay, so here's the cool thing. All of this, it's in here. I put all those things in there, these things that come with the party food kit, put it on top. And then I have this little sheet that I make, and I'll put this in our file cabinet too, so you can get this, but it's got the host rewards on it. It has the host special for the month. So this one has the April host special. It has a little information on the bottom about online orders, and then how do you complete an order form in case they do have somebody that wants to do the order form. I am going to put this in the file cabinet. I'll put it in as a Word document so that you can change it to make it sound like you. I will tell you this is figured for South Dakota. In South Dakota, we have got sales tax on food. So if you're in a state that doesn't have sales tax on food or has different sales tax, make sure you change that. I mentioned South Dakota, I think specifically. Yes, I do. So you're gonna have to change that if you don't live in South Dakota for sure. I also have my name, phone number, and email address on there. So unless you want all of those orders to come to me, you probably better change that information too. So it's really cool because I can put all of that in here. Got it all set. Put the lid down. Everything the host needs for a fabulous party is in this really pretty box. Everything she needs except for the guests. So that's her party food kit. So like I said, I give them to them about 2 weeks before I encourage them to start inviting. I actually encourage them the day we set the date and time to start letting people know to save the date. So if that's a month out, I tell them, okay, text your friends, let them know to save the date. So there's that. Now, at the tasting party, what I do is when guests come in, okay, when I'm at the tasting party, usually I set up a small display, and I do not set up a very big display. I usually take maybe an item in a box, like a beer bread or an almond pound cake or something like that. I will take a seasoning so I can show them what size the seasonings are. I'll take a couple of other things so they can see how pretty our products are packaged, but I don't like to haul around a lot of stuff. So I don't take that. Occasionally, I will take a meal kit, like a 5-meal kit, but not all the time. So a lot of times what I will do is I'll take a 3-ring binder. Now we have this really cool 3-ring binder in the catalog this spring, summer for us to keep our little recipe books in. So I've got the recipe book, and I know you really can't read it because the way light's glaring on it probably, but I've got the 14-day reset book in here. I've got the 5-day reset book. I've got the little mom's favorite taco seasonings flyer. I've got the freezer to oven kit, the grilling kit recipes, because then people can see this is what you get with a food kit. And I will tell you, since I've started doing this, I have sold more of the resets than I ever have, because people look at this and they're like, wow, that stuff is good. Those meals are healthy, and you're just using your regular Tastefully Simple products. So it's a great selling tool. Another thing I do is I print out all the product information for products, 3-hole punch it, and put it in here too. And I'm going to show you where to find that on my HQ before we are done here. So all of my meal kit stuff, and yes, I use the meal kits. That's how I get these. We can't order them. I will tell you, you can download them as a PDF off the website, just tastefullysimple.com. And so you can print them out and a whole bunch and put them in your book. You can't do that with the reset though. But if you bought the spring consultant assortment, you did get the reset book. So you've got them to show people. And I'll show you where I get the product information to print out. And then, and I just print it out once and 3-hole punch it and put it in here, and it's good all season. Take it to all the parties, and then I print out another one when the next season comes out. Okay, so that's what I've got. Got my teeny little display. I've got my information in here so that people got it to look at and I can show them. And I arrived at a party somewhere between 25 to 30 minutes early. Most of my hosts are repeat hosts, so sometimes it's even 20 minutes early. They all know what's going on. I walk in, toss my stuff out, and get there just as people are coming in the door. If you're more comfortable going a little early, by all means do. But I just tell my host I'll be there 25 to 30 minutes early. And then when people come in, I greet them. If I haven't met them before, I introduce myself. Excuse me. Just do some small talk about, you know, what are they familiar with Tastefully Simple? What are some of their biggest mealtime challenges? What are some of their favorite products if they are familiar? Just things like that, to kind of just be friendly and have some conversation. Once everybody gets there, or as people are arriving, I hand out this. Now, this is a lap board. We used to be able to purchase them through Tastefully Simple. We don't have them anymore. So one of these days when all of mine fall apart, I won't be able to use them anymore either. But you can use a pocket folder. You could use just a manila folder. I would put them in put some stuff in some kind of a folder though, just because it's a little firmer surface and people can write. They can write on their order forms. So in here, what do I have? This is what I give them. I give them a business card. And I happen to order the business cards that are on magnets, because I tell them if they don't have one of these in their refrigerator hanging somewhere in their house, they need to take it home. It's on a magnet. They can get a hold of me all the time. When I go to a Tastefully Simple party, I always check the host refrigerator and ask where it is if it's not there. And what's funny is a lot of my hosts, because my business cards have changed through the years, I have a lot of hosts that have all my business cards in all the different forms that they've been in. So people use them. And so they cost a little bit more, but they're super cheap advertising, especially if people are going to use them. And if people don't take them, that's okay. Then it didn't cost you anything, right? But give them a business card. Even if it's not on a magnet, give them a paper business card. One of the cheapest things you can do to advertise. Okay. Also in the lap board, I have, and I'll show you what I do. On the top, I have the hungry for something more, because as people are coming in, I'm handing this out. You know, people are grabbing the first thing in there and they look, and I want to plant a seed. So I've got that on the top. The next thing I have, whoops, little mistake there. I have the catalog. People want to see that. Have an order form. And then I always put in fresh meal ideas, the little meal sheets. They're little tear off things. You can buy like a pad of them. I stick them in there too, because this is something they can easily keep. And I tell people anything that's in here that they want to keep, go ahead and do that. However, if they're going to take it home and throw it away, you know, let me use it for the next person at the next party. So sometimes people leave the catalog, which is great because those are a little more expensive, and they'll take this sheet. So that works good for me. But a lot of times, if people get there early and other people haven't arrived yet and we're waiting, I'll have them go through and say, circle these meals that you think look yummy, and get them to think about some of those meal kits. Okay, so here we are, and the tasting party starts. And we have all this food that our host has made that we get to sample. So now you don't have to do it this way, but what I do is I simply walk them through the catalog, talk about TS Eat Well. I talk about how our products are backed by our Love It guarantee. One of the things that is in every party kit is our beer bread. It happens to be the first product in the catalog. So what people do is they just sit around most of the time in somebody's living room, and the beer bread's in a bowl or on a plate, cubed up, and they simply pass it around. Everybody tastes it. I'll ask who's made the beer bread before. I'll ask the host how easy it was to make, how to explain how she made it. I'll ask her, how did your house smell while it was baking? I'll ask people if they made it other ways. Actually, if you go to our website, there's over 300 recipes for the beer bread, so you might want to check that out. Sometimes we'll talk about how versatile our products are. And so that's what I do. I tell them we're not going to sample everything because you would get really, really full. So talk about the items that we're sampling, but I want them to look at the other items in the catalog. And obviously we're not sampling some of my favorites. I still am going to talk about them, but I definitely talk about the items that we are sampling. I talk about the meal kits and the advantages of them. I show them the books that they get. I tell them they're welcome to look at those. And so that's what you do. Once everybody is done sampling and they've passed it around, and usually it depends on how much people talk, but I try to keep my talking and my presentation to only about a half hour. So pass things around and we visit because it's a party. So I say, okay, we're going to pass things around. I'm going to tell you what it is, but then as soon as you're done sampling, we're going to have that host. She's setting these up on her dining room table or wherever she wants to put them. And you are going to now be able to go and eat whatever you want. You're going to know what they are. You can go back, find your favorites, and just enjoy and just enjoy those products. As long as that host will let you before she takes them and hides them, because she wants to have some leftovers for family, and we usually joke about that a little bit. So a tasting party is fun. I try to engage the guests as much as I can. I ask them, for example, if I might ask them what new seasonal product are they really hoping we'll sample. If we are sampling the Bayou Bourbon Glaze, I'll ask how many people have used it. And when I find out, I'll ask them to share how do they use it. If it's a new product and they're sampling it, I'll ask the same thing. Okay, now you've got the flavor of this. What would you use it for? What are some things that you would try? So that they get to talking and thinking as well. So I've got those items. Okay, we passed them around. Then at the end, the people that have filled out the order forms, I just tell them, I will figure out the totals for you. You can go ahead, bring them to me. I explain ship with friends. So if you don't know ship with friends, you're going to look that up or ask me some questions. So they know they can ship together if they want. The neat thing about Tastefully Simple tasting parties, just like a Facebook party, as soon as somebody puts in that order, it's processed and on the way to them. We don't have to wait to close a party. So if Sally Jones gives me an order this afternoon at a party and I go home and put it in and she's paid me, so I submit it, and that party doesn't close for another week, there's a good chance she will have it by the time the party closes, or at least it'll be on its way. Now, speaking of, a lot of times people say, how long does it take to get products? Tastefully Simple has a 10 business day ship time. So when people ask you, how long is it going to take for us to get the products, I say, we need to allow 10 business days. And then they're like, oh, okay. Well, you know what though? Like I live in South Dakota, Tastefully Simple's Minnesota. A lot of times it takes like 5 days. I don't tell them that though. I don't say, oh, you should have it in 5 days, because then when they don't, they're calling me and Tastefully Simple says 10 days. So I can't do anything anyway until that 10 days is up. So always tell them 10 business days. But Tastefully Simple doesn't hold your product in the warehouse. So you might get it sooner, but you need to allow 10 business days. Okay. I hope that helps a little bit about a tasting party. And I will tell you, you are better off going to a tasting party and relaxing and having fun and making a connection with your guests, because direct sales is a relationship business. It's making friends with people. That's what it is. So much better for you to go have fun and have your guests have fun than to have this speech all practice and be really worried about what you're going to say and nobody has a good time. You're better off to not even know what you're talking about and just go and have a good time. And I'll tell that, like when a new catalog comes out, if I haven't had a tasting party, I'll be like, man, you're the first tasting party of the season. So if I talk way and I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, that's because I don't. These are new products. I haven't even had a chance to try most of them yet. And then usually they laugh. But the thing is, Tastefully Simple is a business that anybody can be successful at. I can be successful. You could be successful. Our hosts could be successful if they decide they want to be a consultant. But if we do everything perfect, they're going to look at us and they're going to say, oh my gosh, she's a really good consultant. I could never do that. That's not what we want. We want everybody to know that they can do that if that's what they want. So that's a tasting party. Hopefully that helps. What I'm going to do now is I am going to share my screen and I am going to show you where you can find some of this information for tasting parties. So let me sign in. And your screen should look something like this, except yours won't say hello Peggy on it. It'll have your name. And I want you to go to parties and orders. When you go to parties and orders, you will see this. It says party underneath of it. Go ahead and click on that. And this is where you're going to find all sorts of great information. General party tools, tasting, non-tasting, freezer meal workshop, fundraiser, sampling, all that stuff. Well, the tasting party we sample. So let's go ahead and click on this sampling here. And this is where we see Party Food Kit 1 and Party Food Kit 2. So I don't know which one to order. I can look and see which one I want to use. Now, the reason Tastefully Simple has 2 party food kits is, let's say that Sally is having a tasting party in April and Jane is one of Sally's guests and she wants to have a party in June. Well, you don't have to give them the same party kit then. You can give Jane the different party kit so they get to do some different things. So that's why we've got the party kit rotations. Really, if you like Party Food Kit 1 and use it all the time, that's fine. But it just gives you some options. And you'll see that all of these are live links. So if I click on Party Food Kit 2, here, this is what's in it. It's the artichoke and spinach warm dip, the Asian garlic dip, the beer bread, garlic, honey teriyaki, Nano's apple cake, seasoned salt, CC cilantro, sweet and sour pineapple sauce. So we can find what's in either kit easily by clicking on this. Let's go to our grocery list for Party Food Kit number 2. Here's the grocery list, and it tells you what they're going to make, and here are the recipes. So if you are ordering a party food kit and somebody wants to have a party, let's say in 2 weeks, and you don't have a party food kit and you need to order it, at least you can print this information out so that they've got all of this so they can have the groceries and everything ready as soon as you get that party food kit to them. But I usually have at least 1 party food kit on hand because I figure, you know, even at this time where we haven't had tasting parties, I can use those samples for other things. So, and then you've got the party menu. And so I'm going to look at party menu for number 2 again. And so this kind of tells you what it does is it gives, what do you try it with? Here's the Asian garlic dip. You're going to sample it with cubed bountiful beer bread. Here's honey teriyaki sauce. You're going to do taster spoons. But, you know, a lot of times I don't use taster spoons except for the soup. I'll ask the host to either get pretzels or cucumbers or carrots or whatever, and that's what we use for that. So, so anyway, that is where you find information about your party kits. Now, let's go back here to a tasting party, and you are worried, you don't know what to say. If you go to tasting party, you can see a party outline here. And I'm going to tell you, this is really cool. So if you're worried about what to say, you just go here. This tells you at the party, this is what you do before the party. This is what you do at the party. And it says your goal is to spend 20 minutes or less on your presentation. So it tells you what to say on each of these pages in the catalog. So you can actually print this out if you want, and then cut it apart and just stick it right in the catalog you're using as a little cheat sheet. Also tells you what to do with checkout, and that your goal is to really spend time with each guest individually, and it tells you what to do at checkout. It's just a little 4-page thing, but it can be a big help if you have never had a tasting party. So the items that you need to help learn about tasting parties are right in my HQ. So much great training. So let me show you some other things. Here we are at tasting party. We looked at the party outline. We can even go down to general party tools, and we can learn, how do you start a party in my HQ? We've got a host coaching checklist. We've got all sorts of things that can help. And so take a look at those. I also want to show you a couple other things. Okay, remember when I said I have that product information list? If you go to products, you click on product overview, and you look, this is usually what I print out. I'll print out the TS Eat Well, even though it talks about it in the catalog. I'll usually print this out here. Here's the PDF. I'll print it out and 3-hole punch it and put it in my binder, because it lists all of these things are things you are not going to find in any of our TS Eat Well products. Remember, those are clean label. I also print out this where it says no gluten ingredients, because it's really much more than that. It is the no gluten ingredient list plus the common allergens. So if somebody has an allergy to milk, let's say, you'll be able to say, well, if you have an allergy to milk, you're not going to want these things that have the orange colored box. So that helps. If you are looking for something kosher, it's the things that are checked here. If you're looking for TS Eat Well items, all of these in purple are TS Eat Well. If you're looking for items that don't have any gluten in them, remember, they're not gluten-free, because they could have been prepared in a facility that also prepares gluten foods. But if they're looking for products that have no gluten ingredients in them, all of these that have the little triangles have no gluten ingredients. So that's really handy. Of course, you can also find those little triangles in the catalog, and our items that are TS Eat Well are also labeled TS Eat Well. But these other allergy things are not necessarily showing up in there. So I usually print that out, 3-hole punch it, put it in here with my party, with my meal kit information. I also go here to the product information, and I print out the spring summer PDF and the standard PDF, because it's got the different products in it. 3-hole punch those, and this is what I said. So here's the Asian garlic dip. We can see it's TS Eat Well. Here's the nutrition information. Here's the ingredient list, which is great, because then if somebody has an allergy, they can take a look at this. We aren't dietitians, so we let them decide what they can have. There's also some really cool suggestions on how to use our products on here too. So I print that out and stick it in there and take that to my tasting parties too. By the way, you can also save it as a PDF on your computer, and you can email it to people, or you can put it into your Facebook party group if you've got people that have allergies and they want to take a look at it. So there are a lot of uses for that. One more thing I want to show you, and then I'll go, because this video is getting quite long and I apologize for that. We go back to our gadgets and we go down to training and support. There are so much training here. So go through all of it. And a lot of times it changes. So you want to go back. But here, if you click on selling, behind selling, you don't click on selling, but behind selling, you'll see tasting parties. If you click on tasting parties, you're going to find all sorts of party tools. You're going to find information on sampling, and then you're going to see all sorts of videos for a tasting party. Anything from how do you set out your checkup? How do you set out your samples? What about your party display? All of those are on here as videos, so you can watch those. That doesn't mean that you have to do it the way these are. It's your business. You do those parties the way that works best for you and that's most fun for you and for your host and for your clients. But if you haven't done a tasting party before, this might be a really, really good place to go and get some information. So that being said, thank you for hanging out with me, learning about tasting parties. after you've watched this video and you've gone in and you watched the other ones and you've kind of gotten ready for your tasting party, if you got questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. I know it looks like a lot of information. When you go through it though, you're going to find out that it's really quite simple. When I signed up as a consultant, I had never been to a tasting party before. There were no videos online on my HQ. I remember, so I got to tell you this quick story before I go. When I signed up a long time ago, our samples came and they didn't even have names on them. So we didn't get, I'm going to share this. We did not get cute little serving things like this, like a Bayou Bourbon Glaze. We'd get a bottle of Bayou Bourbon Glaze that had no label on it, so I didn't know what it was. And then we'd have to pour them into souffle cups. Oh my gosh, it was a lot of work. And I remember I'd been to a party, most of the items I'd never tasted. So it was just really a good luck, go do your best kind of thing. And it worked for me. So you don't really have to even know a whole lot to make it a lot of fun and to really make it work. So for the most part, this information is to help you feel calm, to help you feel confident, but then to let you know, you find your own style. It's really not that hard. Just go have a good time and share with your host and your clients. And that's it. Okay. So thanks a bunch. And I am looking forward to hearing about your stories about your tasting parties. Thanks.